What up, guys? How's it going? I hope everyone is staying safe, all well and good at your end. Today, we're gonna look at one of the other Transformers figures that I bought as part of my toy haul, shall we say, for the weekend. And as you know, last week I did the Hot Rod figure. This time around, I think personally is a figure that could fit into that Studio Series 86 is this figure right here, Cyclonus, who, for those of you who are well aware of the 86 movie, was a pivotal player in terms of the sort of used up Decepticons who got injured, who was kicked out of Starscream, and then eventually was floating in space and then was kind of reformatted by Unicron. Now there was a debate on who Cyclonus was transformed from, but that's a matter, a different matter altogether. And the idea of Cyclonus, I believe, was to come up with a shall we say a character that was like second in command to the new Megatron after the movie, or during the movie, shall we say, which was Galvatron. So then you have him here in all his glory, and this is how he was portrayed. He was obviously a jet, so perhaps it was like a sort of in the same spirit as the Seekers, Starscream and whatnot. Starscream, of course, gets destroyed and mocked during his coronation in the movie by Galvatron, but nevertheless we look at Cyclonus in this instance. So this Cyclonus didn't really actually come for the Studio Series 86 line as similar to Hot Rod. In fact, he is part of the Kingdom line. Now I'm not so sure how he fits into the whole Kingdom universe. Kingdom, as you might know, is not to actually Beast Wars. So of course the original Beast Wars didn't have any not to Cyclonus or Galvatron, or at least I don't think so. So it'll be interesting to see how he fits into the new Netflix series. But nevertheless, as a figure itself, he is a Voyager class cassette, and he's just fallen down. I've taken him out of the box because I was playing around with him in terms of transforming and whatnot, so he can stand. There you go. So let's leave him aside. Part of the in terms of the box, you have, like I said, some of the Kingdom packaging, as you know, has a very small window display, so you can just about see his like a head and chest area. That's about it. It doesn't go all the way like the usual Transformers, but what it lacks in a window display, it more than compensates for that for some nifty artworks. In this case, we have Cyclonus in all his glory. What a fantastic looking art piece, along with his his alt mode. Here's a reference to Kingdom, so you have Siege, of course, Earthrise, and now the latest packaging, Kingdom. You have some artwork, and I've dropped Cyclonus again. Oh, man. Anyway, Cyclonus, can you please stay? Thank you. Nice artwork of Kingdom, the side of the box, and I love this fantastic artwork from day one, from the Siege line, even Earthrise, and it kind of gives a glimpse of what is to expect for the particular shall we say series. In this case, I think it is pretty obvious the Beast Wars and the current Transformers will sort of more or less link in some way, and there is the golden disc as a reference and a nod to the old Beast Wars series, so I can't wait for it. And then you have the product shot of Cyclonus and his alt mode, along with the logo, which is I'm not sure what logo this is. Is this part of the Predacon? I don't know, can't really make out. No, that's Predacon, surely. Yeah, so this one, no idea. Maybe someone with a little bit more knowledge in Transformer lore than I am could probably identify that. But I am a fan, but I'm not that much of a fan to the extent where I know everything. Anyways, then you have the indication of how many steps would it take from the robot mode to the alt mode. So it's almost 34. So this is a bit more complex than, because usually the simplest forms are what, like the 20s or whatever. So it takes a little bit of fiddling, shall we say, to get into the alt mode. And then after that, nothing much in up or down. And I've dropped him for the god knows how many other time. And as you can see, it proves one thing, that he can stand eventually upright pretty good, even if you drop it so many times. So there you go. Enough of this box, enough of rambling. But one thing I do want to highlight is, right, I've given up. Stay there. is what comes is inside the box, and I find it quite intriguing because this is the first time. Of course, there's manual and all that, the legalities and whatnot. You're not gonna be bothered about that. But the backdrop doesn't really have a stage as such as like the Studio Series, but it comes with a nifty what do you call that, backdrop that is essentially the golden disc. And it's all its glory. Now, I'm not so sure whether you are like me, but I don't really associate Cyclonus to the Beast Wars, so maybe there'll be fans who will be interested in sort of putting him behind this backdrop. I'm not so sure I'm one, because I'm going for, as I mentioned in my previous video, I'm going to go for the original G1 Season 1 Season 2 characters, so the Optimus and his clique, Megatron and all that. Then I want to go for specifically the 86 characters. So Cyclonus I see fitting into that category, and then another shelf for the Beast Wars. Anyway, that's my collection. Once I fill them up, I'll show you guys. What it does come with, which I'm thoroughly impressed, is fantastic card here of not necessarily Cyclonus, but I assume it's part of all the characters that comes with Kingdom. Now, right out of the bat, you have all this shiny, shimmery, I don't know what you call that, holographic indication, and it kind of looks like Dinobot, but it says Predacon, and of course we all know from the Beast Wars, Dinobot was actually originally Predacon, but he had a change of heart and all that, and became a good guy. And one of the most outstanding character in the Beast Wars series. And also it's actually kind of like a sticker, because when you peel that shiny shimmery thing, you also get a very nifty little artwork of whoever that is out there, which in this case is in the Beast or Kingdom line. You can see like a eagle, a scorpion, so I assume it's someone like Airazor, and what's that, Scorponok. Is it Scorponok? I can't remember his name. What do you call this? The spider, Black Arachnia, Cheetor, and of course Dinobot. So all this fantastic artwork, and also this quite a Cybertronian font. I don't know whether my camera does it justice, but just the cardwork is quite exquisite. Now, the addition of cards in your figures is something I associate with the McFarlane series, but just having one for Transformers, I don't mind it. It looks pretty good. It's certainly one for the collection, and it kind of harks back to the good old times when you start collecting cards and whatnot, and with the same sort of effect. You have gotten like something special. So I don't mind it. I don't know whether I will display it with the figure, but definitely something that's because the card itself has no particular connection to Cyclonus apart from it saying it's a Kingdom, and this particular Cyclonus is part of the Kingdom line, but there's no indication of Cyclonus here. But regardless, it's still a nifty card, and I'm okay with that. So I just thought I'll show you what you get from the box in terms of the figure itself. And for the figure, yes, you get the Cyclonus figures for obvious reasons. It's purple, and he comes in all his glory. He looks exactly how I imagined him, or how I knew of him in the 86 movies. So that is just, it made this guy smile just looking at him. He looks the part, and he's of the right size. Obviously he's Voyager class, and he also comes with this blaster. Now I think the only thing they've kind of chippened out is these blasters, because I don't know, it doesn't really look all that great. Let me just take it out. As you can see here, it's all quite hollow, and it's kind of like a cheap plastic, but it's okay. Anyway, I'm gonna, if ever I post this guy, he's gonna be in that his robot mode anyway, so I think his blasters would fit in just like that. So let's what we'll try to do right now is transform him into his old mold and see whether he does all what is necessary, and then take it from there. So if you want to transform this guy, like I said, 34 what do you call that, steps apparently to get him into the alt mode. The best thing to do now, I don't know about you, but some of you guys are probably shall we say, the manual lookers. You want to go and look at it picture by picture and transform it. I, on the other hand, am someone who just tries to transform through gut feel, because that's part of the fun, just figuring it out. And so that's what I did, and it's not that complicated as such, but and there's no like one way to start or finish. Well, finish yes, but not start. So what I tend to do is may not be the exactly like the manual, but here you go. I would like to show you something that's a bit more my take on it. In terms of the easiest way to do it is first and foremost we fold the feet. So the feet will have to go in because we don't want feet jetting out, shall we say, forgive the pun. So there is a like a flap at the calf area there, and if you take it out and you lift it, you can see the sort of a tab that comes out. You fold the feet inside because there's enough space there, and you lock it in place, so you get this sort of profile of the, shall we say, the feet area. Likewise, so let's take that out, take out the tab, fold the feet in and close it. So there you go, you have what is essentially a feetless Cyclonus. You see the tabs there, tab and a hole. You can just put them in, and his legs are now kind of attached, and you want the pack to eventually connect to the main body, but we'll get into that later, or maybe you can even take it out for now. The other easiest one to do is the hands. Now what you want to do is the hands, you want it to look like the Mega Man hands. I'll show you what I mean. Here you have the slots, so you can see just about there's like a gap there that allows you to open. So when you open, the hand sort of comes out that way. You twist the hand inwards and then you close it in, and then you get that. There you go, that's the Mega Man hand. Likewise, let's do that on the other side. So we sort of open it, rotate, close it back. They have two Mega Man hands. You push it upwards, and oh sorry, the other thing is these wings are a lot more easier. It's just like folded wings, so all you have to do is push it out, and there you go, it comes out just like that. Similarly, let's do it in slow motion. Push it and pull it all out in place like that, and you have two wings of the jet. So you can see just about the jet is coming along nicely. Now the hands here, or the forearm, you just twist it to the point where the shark fin here comes sort of 90 degrees to the wing. So there's a nice little peg and a hole that allows you to give you that. Likewise, 90 degrees shark fin to the wings, peg, hole, clickety clickety. There you go, you have that. Bring it upwards. Now all you have to do is transform the head so that you get the the nose of the jet. Now this isn't it, although his head is like a cone head, and I think the idea is to separate his body to the point where it actually can be sort of rotated. The way you do this is you split the body. You see there is a like a gap here. The one way to know is if the gaps are big enough, you know that it is something that you can open. So just like that, you open and the hands kind of go that way. You then split it in two. There you go, so you get that. You then fold his head that way completely 180 degrees. So now you have the nose. You close the body and his head is disappeared. Now the nose is something that is pretty interesting in a sense that it is a nose within a nose within a nose. I'll show you what I mean. First you have the first stage of the nose, which will open up. Okay, so let's take the body portion out. This is the nose. You have the first stage of the nose, much like a rocket, if you will. It allows you to open a smaller nose inside. So yes, you see that smaller nose inside. You take that nose out. Okay, you see there is a slot there that allows the first nose to sort of just bite at the tail of the second nose. Okay, and within this nose you have what appears to be the sharp end of the nose. So there you go, take that out and you close that in. So first stage, second stage, third stage, all kind of inside, like the Russian doll. I forgot his name. So anyway, then you can just close everything in place. Cockpit obviously now facing the nose, so that makes sense. You then fold it, fold the flaps back that way, and there you go. So you have more or less a profile of the Cyclonus. Now what you have to do is you fold the peg the legs together, and you see there's a peg here that goes into this slot. You can either do it simultaneously, or what I tend to do, which is much more easier, is to do it one leg at a time, where the leg can actually fold onto itself, so that you have that position where it can fit in. So let's try that. That's the only sort of see that you get that. Likewise, the legs will fold, which will allow sort of that connection to take place, and you just have to squeeze everything in place, and voila, so you have the leg folded onto itself enough to push that in. Now all you have to do is see the profile of the wing. Now here the wings are not that way as like a normal jet, it's actually the reverse, and all you have to do is slot that in, and even this has a slot. You can see here a peg, a hole, so push that in, or make it flush, and there you go. And one thing I've noticed is that you can do everything like in good connection, and you can put it all flush except for this part here. And I've kind of checked back again and again with other videos and whatnot with other reviewers, and they all seem to have the same sort of gap. So I'm not so sure, maybe it's a defect specific to this character or this figure, but anyway. And one nice little thing addition they have is they have actually landing gears. You can see a small tab where you can pull out some small wheels. Likewise, you can do the same like a stand essentially, and you pull that out. It's on the legs as well as the right on the nose, and you can actually have a stand, so you can see just about it. Okay, so there you go. You can actually make him stand instead of like putting his underbody in a on top of a table and whatnot. So there you go, Cyclonus all transformed and whatnot. If you want to bend it a bit, there's a Concord for you. Well, I don't know. Anyway, so that's how you transform him into his alt mode, and like I said, he looks the part. This is how I remember him. There was like a futuristic jet design they were going for, and this was it. Now to transform him back, all you have to do is the same thing. You go in reverse, you close the landing gears. Now the landing gears isn't necessarily compulsory, but if you want, yeah, what you do, the easiest way is to take out the hands. So that will be the easiest one to come out. Okay, now you remember the legs were kind of connected, so you take them out. Ooh, did I? Nope. And then you pull the leg out. There you go, and you look at the leg then comes out just like that. Fantastic. Okay, now you know for a fact this was the easiest, so let's do the tabby and feet outie. Take out the tab, pull out the feet, fold the tab back in place, it goes in. Okay, all nice and neat. Then you have the actual leg and feet. Likewise, take the tab, fold it in, take out the feet, or maybe take out the feet first. Anyway, close, and there you go, the leg profile is seen. Next, what you want to do is obviously the body. Now you know for a fact this nose is a nose within a nose within a nose, so you do the same thing. You take out the first nose, close it onto the second nose, then you open the third nose in order to put the second nose in place. There you go, it goes back right in, and voila, you have that. Now what you do is you split the body so that it's two separate pieces like that. You can rotate the head back in its place. What you want to do for the head to come out, you have to twist the cockpit area, so back in its place like that, and then you have the head that kind of is much more easier to flip it around, and you have Cyclonus. Push that in and push the back side in. There you go. Next thing you know, put this side pieces in place, and you have more or less the profile of a robot back in place. The hands, from the Mega Man hands, what you want to do is fold it back the way it was originally. So in that sense, take out the fins so that it's no longer right angle, and there you go. Take the hand out, put that in, voila. Likewise, let's see now, Now all of this should come naturally, but if not, just fiddle around with it and you'll get it. I don't see what's the point of having a, well, you might need maybe a manual first instance, but other than that, if you do it, it will come naturally eventually. There you go. So now we have the Cyclonus all in his robot mode. The only other last thing to do is to fold the wings. Now this is a nifty little trick. His wings doesn't really kind of extend it that way. So what you do is you fold it back, one hinge, two, back in place, one hinge, two, back in place. There you go. So you have a shorter profile, and there you go. That's how you transform Cyclonus, and that's how he gets to be in his alt mode in all his glory. Now one thing I noticed is that, I don't know whether you can see, his eyes actually glow under a certain light condition, so it's like a reflector. So you see that? I don't know if you can see it, but there you go. You know, it actually, so if you put in a light source, it actually, because there's a like a reflector thing here, and it actually takes in light and it's like it's glowing. That's scary, man. And if I close it, it goes off. There you go. I think it's pretty neat. I think it looks pretty cool. Anyway, that's where this figure stands. Let's do the final verdict on this in terms of whether it's worth your money. Right, after getting the chance to play around with him, pose him, articulate him and all that, I think this is a pretty decent addition to your collection. As I said, my main premise for collecting him is based on having to collect 3 different sort of lines or universe, shall we say, for the Transformers I'm going for. The Generation 1, Season 1, Season 2, so essentially Optimus and his cliques. Then the movie 86 what do you call that, figures, so Galvatron, Cyclonus, Hot Rod, Springer, RC, all these kind of people who made their appearance when the first movie came out. And then of course Beast Wars, where I think much of the characters you will find in the Kingdom line, the up and coming Kingdom line. So I don't necessarily see this guy in the Kingdom line, but he fits in perfectly well in the 86 what do you call that, lineup. And I think that's what Hasbro is going for, where I think where they couldn't bring some of the characters into like one particular line, what they're trying to do is just include it in another line so that you get like a good collection. So for that, I commend Hasbro for what they're doing in terms of the figure. I think this is as good as you can get for a Cyclonus. Now one thing I noticed is that, for me, when I look at him directly, I don't see the difference in coloration, but when I look at the camera in my video, and when I started to replay some of the previous sections of the video, there is a noticeable difference between the purple here and the purple sort of like for the rest of his body. Now it's kind of like a different shades of purple. I think you will notice it, but when you buy it firsthand and you actually look it with your naked eye, I can't differentiate it. It's more prominent when I actually put it with a filter, obviously, in my video, and I don't know whether that's something that's kind of, you can see the purple here and the purple here is kind of the same, whereas the rest of the body is like more bluish purple, if you know what I mean. It's not necessarily something that bothers me that much. I am not sure whether he was meant to be like that, because I don't remember the cartoon. I know he was a purple character, much like what I remember him from the movies, but yeah, okay, it is what it is. Don't know, maybe something that is actually true. Anyway, that's not necessarily a problem as such. So like I said, would I recommend him? Hell yes. If you are going for that 86 movie, if you're like me, if you're a nostalgic freak, you remember the 86 movie line by line and whatnot, you would love this guy. And unlike every other, let's say, second in command for the Decepticons, where they're always a bunch of weasels, the Starscreams, the Shockwaves of the world, who are always after their leader, Cyclonus, on the other hand, was actually the opposite spectrum of all of these guys. He was sort of more loyal in a way, even though Galvatron was like treating him like a piece of, well, you know what I mean. So he was kind of like a, like a Soundwave second in command. He was more obedient, and he was a decent and able leader in his own merit, but for some reason he was very loyal to Galvatron, even though Galvatron gave him a lot of sticking. Galvatron was much more like a Skeletor, he was always insulting people, as far as I remember. So anyways, so with that, I think I will conclude my video, and with that, guys, I Would like to request you guys, if you like what you saw today, please feel free to like and subscribe to my channel and help it grow. As I said, every now and then I pick up stuff that I like. There's hardly anything that I just buy just for the sake of making a video. But when I do buy it because it hits the right spot in some a corner of a nostalgic memory that I have about the character, and I tend to like it. Of course, when there are flaws, I tend to highlight it as well, so no issues for me. So with that, stay safe guys, and I shall see you when I see you in my next video. Adios.
Here we go.